He's in great shape. He's shown the ability to take big hits, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the game for a play or two and come back, and you're like, oh, my gosh.
We all certainly thought he was hurt going into halftime at Detroit.
In the Detroit game, for sure. And he pops right back up. Here we go, and we're ready to roll. And, so is that a concern? Well, that's a concern for every team in the National Football League, right? I mean, is Patrick Mahomes particularly injury-prone? Well, he got hurt against the Jags. But I don't think you go into the season going, oh, my gosh, how are we going to keep Patrick Mahomes healthy?
No.
Right? He hasn't had that kind of issue. Now, if you've got a guy who's missed a bunch of games recently, maybe like a Lamar Jackson, maybe that's more of a concern for you. But that is something that is just kind of the state of affairs in football. Now, if you have an injury-prone player, it's a different story. So today, what we'd like you to do is just give us one concern that you have about this football team on the offensive side, or a question. It doesn't have to be, when you say a question, well, who's going to lead this team in receptions? That's not a concern, right? To me, it's not anyway. Hey, if it's Ridley, great. If it's Kirk, great. Whatever. If it's Evan Ingram, fantastic, right? Somebody had a monster year. Let's hope that that's the case. But we'll take the ones that we think are legit. Like somebody asked about ETN taking too many big hits, or mentioned ETN taking too many big hits. I think that's fair because we've seen evidence that he has taken some of those big hits. But what we'll do is we'll compile all the questions and concerns, and at the end of the show, we'll tell you what you really need to be worried about. Right? We'll take them and we'll rank them.
Sure.
Seriously, because in my head, I think there are 2 or 3 things that are paramount for this team that when I look at the offensive side of the football, and a lot of the rest of it is kind of window dressing, so to speak. Now, is it a concern for you that we get Evan Ingram signed? I think that's legitimate, right? Until he is, I think that's a question. Will he drag this out? Will they get a long-term deal done? Is not as important as will he be on the field. I'm thinking your concerns and questions for 2023 specifically, right? Yeah. It's not like, what are we going to do 2 years down the road when we've got all these contracts come up or whatever the case may be. So share with us your thoughts on that today. That's the Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day. Trevor Lawrence kind of snapping back a little bit. You don't see Trevor Lawrence get into, I wouldn't even call it a war of words or any it didn't show any reaction that I'm aware of to criticism. Everything kind of rolls off his back a little bit, and he just goes about his business. But we talked about yesterday the clickbaitiest clickbait that's come down in a while from the folks over at NFL Network with Kyle Brandt doing his 7-tier quarterback rankings that were, honestly, outside of the Trevor Lawrence position, might not have been that absurd overall, but clearly Trevor Lawrence not being given credit for what he's accomplished to this point, what his potential is based on his, collegiate body of work, what the expectations were coming to the league, how well he's fulfilled them, all these different things. So, Good Morning Football tweeted out yesterday 7 tiers of AFC quarterbacks by Kyle Brandt. And Trevor, I'm guessing there's something in there because I saw the end result. I really don't need to hear Kyle Brandt's idiocy explaining to me why Trevor Lawrence is only better than the 3 rookie quarterbacks who have yet to play a snap in the AFC. Yeah. But Trevor this morning quote tweeted that tweet from Good Morning Football and just said the game ain't played on paper. That to me is like a stinging rebuke from Trevor Lawrence, again, who just does not seem fazed by much and just kind of, hey, it comes with the territory. And this one seemed to, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seemed to bother him at least a little bit, at least enough. And I don't mean bothered like he's like in a fetal ball in the corner crying and wondering why are these people being so mean to me. I think it probably ticked him off a little bit. Like, hey, come on now. I may be an easygoing, unassuming guy, but I've got some pride in my game as well.
Well, I think it appears to have ticked him off a little bit in the same way that the small corners of the fan base that were whispering the word bust halfway through last season, right? But he heard it, right? He acknowledged it in his Players Tribune article. Yeah, I heard what you said, right?
Sure.
And I used it as fuel. That's what this feels like to me. You got me
But
where?
this is about a specific example. It's one thing to say, hey, I heard the criticism.
You're right. No, I'm with you.
Which encompasses everything.
Right. And I think that goes back to something that we've talked to since we've been doing radio together, right? They hear everything.
Of course they do.
They can say that they're not paying attention to anything, but they hear everything.
You can choose to block it out, or you can choose to not let it affect you, or you can, choose to keep it to yourself and but you hear it.
And I think this is kind of the proper way to use whatever those kind of things that you're hearing as whatever kind of fuel you need, right? And that's what this, like his response to it, that's what it feels like to me. Just shut up, right? Like that's big. He's like, shut up. That's the game isn't played because of where you have me ranked, all these different things. And it's so out of line with what everyone else has had the AFC quarterback rankings look like throughout this offseason. To this point, this is way out of whack compared to everybody else that has been doing this. It's not new. Everyone knows the AFC is the dominant conference right now. The quarterbacks in the AFC are absolutely loaded.
Absurd.
And, we've had the discussion looking at these lists when you see, an article, it says ranking the AFC quarterbacks right when the season ends. It's like click on, it's Trevor 4 or 5, right? Is he going to be ahead or behind Herbert? Is why you would open up the list. 12th? 13th?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I'm presuming that's where you had them ranked because there's you put them in a tier. You don't just randomly throw them in there then.
No.
Right? If you're randomly throwing them in, you put them alphabetically.
You would think.
You would think. When you list them behind Pickett and Mac Jones.
Although maybe we can give them the benefit of the doubt given how little thought seems to have been put
maybe
into
so.
this.
I don't know. And that's the thing. Again, in the end of the day, if it provides a little bit of extra motivation, Trevor's a pretty self-motivated guy. We kind of joked yesterday, this will be in his locker by the end of the day, right? Honestly, don't put it in his locker. Go put it in every other player on the offense's locker, right? This is what they're saying about your quarterback. You believe this, right? Like Trevor Lawrence, what is he going to throw the ball harder? You know what I mean? Like I'm going to throw this a little bit more accurate than I otherwise would have. No, he's going to go out and do his thing. But, go out there as an offensive lineman. Fight that extra third of a second. That might be the difference between a sack and a big completion down the field. Go up and make that contested catch. Make that key block if you're a wide receiver in the running game, which they do. They've got guys like that. But that to me is more like, you see what they said about our guy? Mm-hmm. Let's go out there and let's show them what he's capable of when he's got the full support of this team. And obviously he's got full support of this team.
For sure. I mean, Anton Harrison already quote tweeted Trevor. Quote tweeting it this morning. Trevor put out
he's getting in there.
The game 8 played on paper, and Anton Harrison quote tweeted Trevor said 100.
100. But it's also played on field. But Anton Harrison's playing that social media game, by the way. Hey,
yes,
QB, see who's got your back right here? Who's got your blind side? Me. Okay, or your front side, whatever the case may turn out to be. All right, so today, the Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day reads like this. I've got a bunch of tweets out there today. What is your biggest question or concern about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense in 2023? That concern may not be pictured, okay? I just put some playmakers in there. I put Trevor and ETN and Evan Ingram and Calvin Ridley. And so whatever your concerns or questions are on the offense, send them to us. Just give us one. You can give your thoughts on that and how you think it'll play out. But what we'd like to do is kind of compile how people are feeling about that side of the ball, mostly positive. But what are the lingering questions that we need to see addressed? And we may not be able to address these questions. So, health of the offensive line has been a big one this morning, okay? You're not going to know, right? And so do you have the proper depth for that offensive line? That could be something that you can address. And certainly with Cam facing a suspension that's up in the air right now for the early part of the season. But anyway, there's that out there. E.T., good morning. How are you?
Yeah.
You getting love on the text line already this morning? They love you.
Yeah, man, they love my updates, man.
You see, I didn't want to mention your update because I dawned on me E.T.'s update, if you go back and listen on demand to the show, you didn't get to catch the brilliance of E.T.'s update leading into the program, right? Where we found out that number 71 is a very important number in Jaguar lore. And I felt like people needed to sit with that for a few seconds to really appreciate what that number meant, right? So I knew what you were doing. You were giving it room to breathe right there, right? So
I couldn't find my sound.
I know you couldn't, man. I'm trying to help you out here, but we love you, all right? Let's get going. Let's talk a little Jaguar football. 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up on Twitter at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at IME2. The T?
Come on, somebody.
Come on, everybody. Let's get rolling. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Hey, Jags fans. Renewal by Andersen is a proud partner with your favorite team. And they bring that same commitment to excellence to your home's windows and doors. With their advanced Fibrex material and energy-efficient glass options, their windows and doors are the perfect choice for your next home improvement project. Let them help you bring more light and life into your home. Schedule a complimentary consultation today. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888 Sparky.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Listen for the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehabilitation House Call and the Frangie Show this Friday. They'll tell you about rehab parameters for baseball and softball players and the different tools available at JOI Rehab. JOI, where the pros go.
Nobody has a passion for football like Tommy Mack.
Okay, let's be honest about something.
Tom McManus.
It's my opinion.
Friday from 10 to noon. Brought to you by Renewal by Andersen. A better way to a better window on 1010XL.
Hey there, all you fun-loving sports maniacs, a.k.a. taco lovers. Don here from Taco Lou. I'm quite proud to say that we have the best staff in all of Duval.
Don't you mean Louval?
Say hello to Lizzie.
Hello, Jacksonville.
I suppose I do mean Louval. Say, Liz, what's your favorite cocktail to make?
The Double Barrel Margarita. It's Herradura, Tequila Reposado, Orange Liqueur, Orange Juice, and our homemade sour mix. We call it Lou Brew. Give it a good shake and serve.
Well, thanks, Lizzie.
Come in and hang with me at the bar. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, it's Prosser here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? Does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound about right now? Well, Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loans, consolidate all your payments into one check per month, and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hacker here, and you know that I'm a sausage guy. So let me tell you about the Sausage Dudes sausage. The Sausage Dudes use quality pork and carefully sourced spices to make the best sausage I've ever had. They have 4 outstanding flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with cheddar and jalapeno, and my favorite, the Italian. You can pick up the Sausage Dudes sausage at Publix locations all throughout Jacksonville. So take it from me and head to Publix today to pick up the Sausage Dudes sausage.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE Neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Round up a foursome of friends and test your aim to help kids succeed. It's the 5th annual Camp Deep Pond Clay Shoot presented by the Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation, supporting Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. The fun takes place Friday, May 12th. You bring the team and the Boys and Girls Clubs take care of the rest. Proceeds benefit Mackenzie's Camp Deep Pond, an outdoor spring break and summer camp experience for local kids and teens. Visit bgcnf.org/events.
Apparently I'm, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
Jeff Prosser.
I think they need a timeout.
Mornings on the drill.
Your boy Captain America over here.
On 1010XL.
Big man in a suit of armor.
Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right. Jaguars Today, rolling in post-draft week. I've identified 8 different issues so far that people have sent in. Some of them sending in, similar things to one another. And that's fine, right?
Sure.
We're asking for your biggest question or concern today. So I'll go through some of these here momentarily. And, we're not going to get into ranking them until later on in the program. I want to get as much feedback as possible in case there's something that we're overlooking here. In terms of what we should be concerned about, or at least aware of. Concerned is such a strong word.
Mm-hmm.
If I look at the offense compared to the defense, I say I have no concerns about the offense. But if I look at the offense compared to, going player by player by player, you can always find something that you're worried about in anybody's game. Hey, is Trevor Lawrence going to avoid slow starts? Is he going to be more consistent? Is he going to be that guy? I mean, you could have that as a concern. You may feel, I think a lot of people just assume that he has turned a corner. And I feel like that's probably the case, right? He had a long enough stretch where he played at a high level in the second half of the year last year. But, somewhere on, if you had 100 concerns, that would be on my list of 100 concerns, right? You know what I mean? But it's not anything that I would lose an iota of sleep over. He's one of the guys that I have the least concerns with on the entire football team. I'm sure I could find something individually. Is Luke Fortner going to have a sophomore slump, right? I mean, I'm more concerned with that than I am is Trevor going to have a third-year regression of some kind.
Yeah, look, with what we all saw Trevor do through the last 6 weeks of the regular season, the couple of weeks in the playoffs, and given the pedigree that he had coming into the league, right? I think all of those things alleviate to such a degree as to almost make it non-existent my concern that he's going to regress in year 3. It's not that it's impossible that it happens.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not
just
right. He is a human being.
Everything we saw, the evidence for the second half of last season tells me, no, he's not going to regress.
By the way, I don't have this major concern that Luke Fortner's going to have some step back in year 2. I think, having played 17 games, plus playoffs, you're battle tested a little bit now. In fact, these rookies, I think, could be pleasantly surprising. The young players, you get more and more acclimated to the league, and you hear about that second-year breakout. So continue to send those to us. And if you want to call in and discuss anyone in particular, you're certainly welcome to. E.T., I know you're busy in there, but I got a young man here who maybe, I don't know if he's a contender for the throne or what. I don't think it's that strong. But a young man sent me a video he did about great vibes at the Duval draft party. I mean, this seems like your lane to me right here. But
I got to see this video.
Well, I haven't seen it myself because it's like 15 minutes long.
Oh.
Okay? So, so I'm interested to see, and he decided to send it to me, I guess, to see what I think, maybe. Maybe I want to watch it first. I'm not going to just retweet it out there. I want to see it. But I don't mind. Like, people send hype videos. There are a couple of guys that make phenomenal Jaguar hype videos out there. I mean, just spectacular computer skills with the graphics and the mix with the music, and they stir your emotions. And I love sharing those with people, right? Why not? You know what? get a little pride going for the entire fan base. But I don't know about this young man. This seems like straight out the pages of the ET playbook to me right
We're
here.
going to have to check that out again.
All right. Well, I may forward that one on to you, but I told him I'm no nothing until I get a chance to view that bad boy. So we'll check that out a little bit later on. By the way, every year, I think, Tony, you and I do should we really lean into May the 4th, right? May the 4th be with you, and do the ultimate cast members of the Jaguar organization, past and present, as people in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Right? And I just, like last year, we felt like, how many times can I read the same tweet? Trevor's Luke Skywalker, right? Trevor's Luke. But I thought about it a little bit today. I don't know if he is Luke. Okay? I think he might be Baby Yoda, a.k.a. Grogu.
Okay?
Seriously, right? Now, this is a little bit geeky down the beaten path.
It's not our first time down the path.
Not sure if you're aware of this. Luke got really old, right?
Yes, he did.
Actually, eventually died.
Yep.
Okay, spoiler alert. Okay, it wasn't in the first 10 movies or so, but
he's a Force ghost, so he's still around. But
right?
he's dead. Yeah.
I feel like, Trevor is in the midst of his everything right now. He's just coming onto the scene. He's got more power than he even realizes he possesses in those tiny little three-fingered hands of his, right?
Sure, yeah.
And he can, move people at will, just do what he wants, exhibit his will, and he's learning that the longer he goes into his career in the National Football League. Now, a little bit of a spoiler, if you didn't see The Mandalorian this year, he also took a step up in terms of, armament, okay? But I'm just saying, he's adding. He's coming into his own now.
But Trevor Lawrence got Calvin Ridley.
He did get Calvin Ridley.
So the armament's improving.
I suppose that could be something you'd look at like that. But, he went from a guy that, although you knew he had this innate ability, right, he needed some protection at first, like any young quarterback does, some nurturing, right, to some safe harbor. Let's make sure that we don't destroy this guy. Remember that first season, right? It wasn't pretty, and he wasn't getting that kind of protection.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't getting, and I'm not just talking about offensive line protection. I'm talking about support.
Yeah.
Wasn't getting that.
We've seen plenty of young quarterbacks come into the league and that be enough to at least break them in the short term.
Right, and you're like, oh, that was cute for a while it lasted.
Yeah.
What a gimmick, right? But no, what he's done now is realize, I do have these powers, and now I'm starting to exercise them, right? And I'm being judicious about how I use them. I don't eat every swamp rat that crawls in front of me, okay?
Right,
I can be a little bit more discerning at this point whether I want to squeeze that ball into the tightest of windows.
Yeah, I only eat the choice swamp rat.
The choice swamp rat is what I go to. Do I live to fight another day? So, again, just a little aside, as I was thinking about this, Luke is kind of the face of the whole thing. I don't know if that is Baselli, you could say, or is that Brunell being the original quarterback that we rallied around? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that guy's time is come and gone. He'll always be a part of it, right? And he'll always be tied to it. But we got a brand new guy with a new set of powers, a new set of skills that we think is going to take things, maybe even surprising. You're always going to have nostalgia if you grew up in a certain period of time.
Sure.
For The Empire Strikes Back, or, I still call it Star Wars, A New Hope. I don't know when that name. That name was not on it when the movie came out, when I watched
just Star Wars.
It's just called Star Wars. But anyway, you'll always have nostalgia for the 90s.
Yeah.
With
New
the Jacksonville
Horizons,
Jaguars.
with everything going on with.
Now you're like, you know what? We can actually not only go, I kind of like this too, but I might actually like this better.
Right.
Than what we had in the past. Now you got a ways to go. But the groundwork has been laid for this version of the Jacksonville Jaguars to be the one that kids who are, 16 years old now, young men and women who are 25 years old now and have had a lot of disappointment, now are going to look back and go, oh, you guys think this is good. You should have been there in the mid-2020s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're probably all sick of Granddad talking about what happened in 96 and 99 and all this other kind of stuff. So anyway, I was just thinking about it. I wasn't spending a whole lot of time thinking about it, but I did think a little bit about that today.
Yeah, I like it. That's
he's
not
kind
bad.
of the new guy on the scene.
Yeah.
With all the powers. And he's cute as hell, too, which helps, right? So I'm talking about Grogu now. But, your opinions may vary on that
Grogu
one.
needs to work on that hair game.
He does, right? But he's so chill, and as soon as he comes on the screen, you're like, oh, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let anything happen to that one, right? We're not gonna ruin him, are we? He's not gonna be.
We've ruined a lot.
We've done our best
to ruin him. Yeah.
to drag things down into the mud at times, but we got a new one on the scene. All right, here's some of the ones that a lot of offensive line stuff. Evan Ingram's status, who plays left guard. How good are the offensive tackles? We'll get into some of these in the next segment a little bit, just kind of laying the groundwork and maybe add a few to this list as well. But keep them coming in today as we ask you, what's your biggest question or concern on the offensive side of the ball? Somebody said pass rush. I'm like, all right, I get it. It's a big concern. I just replied offense. And, maybe they were saying how do we deal with other teams' pass rush, but then I would think protection would have been the way they laid it out. But nevertheless, I think they're trying to make a point that the biggest concern that they have for the Jacksonville Jaguars here in 2023 is pass rush. By the way, the numbers settled as they usually do. Yesterday, we did our poll on the pass rushers. If you could sign a vet this offseason, which one would you prefer? Yannick Ngakoue came down a couple of points, but 45.7, the strong leader out of all the choices we gave you. 28% went with Frank Clark. I wonder if that's the recency bias of seeing him perform well again in the postseason. That's a possibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get that if you're leaning into that. But really, you look at his season-long totals for the last 5 or 6 years compared to some of these other guys, they're just not there, in terms of sacks. Anyway, Leonard Floyd got 16.7%, and I'm going to say that we are responsible for bumping Justin Houston from about 7.5 to 9.5 with our strong arguments to close the show yesterday. But we got nearly 1,200 votes on that one, so we appreciate you weighing in, as always, as the Jaguar faithful out there. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and ET, 641-1010. What are your biggest concerns about the Jaguars offense in 2023? Share those with us. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Tire Outlet. Is your vehicle in need of a little tender, loving care? We'll bring it to the experts at Tire Outlet. They've got over 40 years of experience and 14 locations around the First Coast, so it's convenient as well. Tire Outlet's the brand you can trust with certified technicians to do the job right. They'll get you in and out in no time flat. When it comes to flats, if you've got them, they'll fix them, baby. They've got over 300,000 tires in their local inventory. They offer free tire rotations, free brake inspections, rebate offers on brand name tires, and a legendary price match guarantee on every set of brand new tires. That's Tire Outlet, where you always get wholesale prices and premium service.
You're listening to Jaguars Today on the home of the Jags. 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
It's time to play Fix That Plumbing Problem. What do you do if you have a clogged drain? Contestant 1?
Have my husband try to fix it?
Yeah, right.
And maybe his buddy who lives across the street?
Contestant 2? That's right. Just call the duck.
Clogged drains, leaky pipes, water heaters to slab leaks, commercial and residential. We repair what your husband fixed.
When you're stuck, call the duck. 904-862-6769.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security is hiring salespeople right now. If you want to sell new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound and Security is looking for you. Tyson Sound and Security is hiring for sales positions, and they will train you to be successful. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. That's 762-1000. Hiring for sales positions right now. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. Equal opportunity employer.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathans.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
Wake up and smell the golf balls. Brunch with the Tour. Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Yes, it is.
Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation and J&M Roofing. Tuesday morning at 8:30 on 1010XL.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. While we've earned the reputation as North Florida and South Georgia's preeminent official Rolex jeweler, it's important to point out that at Underwoods we carry other watches too. We start with Seiko, the most reliable, serviceable watch made for under $500. And they've started making jeweled, self-winding watches again, and sports watches you'd have to see to believe. Next we have Tavan, the Swiss-made ladies and men's and dress and sport watches, and they start at $575. Another name we carry is Tudor, inspired by Rolex with the same founder and owner, the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. And their sport watches and chronographs are the rage in Swiss timekeeping, with new in-house watch movements and exciting new model introductions every year. So if you're interested in watches, we have what you want at Underwoods, and all of our watches carry a 5-year warranty. At Underwoods, in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Pickett here again for Zero Res. I wonder what my wife wants for Mother's Day, but every time I ask her, she just wants me to have those cleaning freaks at Zero Res come and clean tile and grout again. She just loves how good it makes her feel. And you know Zero Res has a deal on tile cleaning for my listeners as well. From now until Mother's Day, get $50 off your tile and grout cleaning, or $50 off cleaning and sealing your granite countertops, or you can get both. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Your quick and easy solution for paying the lowest price on car insurance is Estrella Insurance. E to the T here and start saving the big bucks and pay less today. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE and see for yourself. That's 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE or visit EstrellaInsurance.com.
Fans first.
I was born a Jags fan, and I'm Duval till I die.
Jaguars pride forever.
Duval!
1010XL, home of the Jaguars. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, 1010XL, Jaguars Today, rolling on here. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, ET here with you. Tony, what do you think about Brenton Strange? I know that I just threw that at you. That's a pretty broad question, but what do you expect his role to be, I guess, with the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I think he's going to soak up all the snaps that were going to Chris Manhertz. Right? So I think he's automatically in that kind of role. I think he's a more...
So do you think he's more of the inline type guy?
No, but I think he'll take all the inline type stuff when they have both those guys on the field at the same time and want the tight end to be on the end of the line, right? Like, I think that he will line up in the backfield sometimes. I think that he will line up out wide sometimes. I think he's a much more maneuverable piece than Chris Manhertz was, right, in this offense.
I agree with that.
And he gives you way more as a receiver than Manhertz did. You know, we talked about it when we came in Monday after the draft was done. I'm excited by Brenton Strange because of when they picked him and the guy who's going to be coaching him, right? Like, I don't think they make that kind of pick, obviously making him the priority for at tight end at that point in the draft if Doug Peterson isn't excited about what he can see that he can do with him in this offense. I think when Ingram gets here, which I expect is probably going to be right around the deadline for that kind of thing to get done as far as whether or not they get a long-term extension done, I think they're going to push that right until that deadline in July. If it has to go to that. And then shortly after that, if it isn't done, Ingram will sign the tag and be here, I think, for training camp. But I think, you know, we don't know the long-term future of Evan Ingram. I think that Strange is a very different player than Evan Ingram. I think he's a more maneuverable piece at tight end than Ingram is, who I do think is, it's pretty much been settled that he is more the line him up outside and try to get favorable matchups because you have that athletic guy at tight end lining up outside. I think Strange can do more than that, but I think he's also capable of doing the other. I think he's a fine blocker, so I think you can use him doing whatever you were asking Manhertz to do.
Well, it's funny because, right, like you and I didn't watch a ton of Penn State, and when we did, we didn't focus in on Brenton Strange and how's he doing blocking the edge and things like that, right? So, you know, we've had people this week call up and tell us, well, he's the inline guy. Is he? And it doesn't seem like, I mean, he may be more of that than Evan Ingram is, but I don't know if they have a true inline guy, at least among those two.
Sure.
Couple of things. The reason I bring it up, I saw his name come up in a couple of pieces here. One at CBS, Chris Trapazzo did his favorite pick for each team. And for the Jags, it was Strange. And honorable mention was Anton Harrison. But said Strange, one of my favorite sleepers in the entire class, was not a high-volume tight end at Penn State, meaning he didn't get the ball thrown to a ton, but made the most of his opportunities, often ricocheting off tackle attempts down the field. Then, at the Combine, he tested like a premier athlete for the position. Even with Evan Ingram in the mix, Strange should be an instant weapon in the sneaky good Jaguars offense with Trevor Lawrence entering year 3. Tell that to Kyle Brandt, okay? But I also saw this over at Pro Football Focus, okay? And they did draft grades for every team. Jags got a B, for whatever that means to you. Colts got an A+.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a lot of room to move up from a B. B+, A-, A, right? So, you know, there are a lot of levels there, potentially, but they gave a little blurb about every player. And as far as I know, this is not premium content. I was able to click right into it. I don't subscribe to PFF. But anyway, if you wanted to check it out, my point being for what they said about the rest of the team, it should be there for you. But the Brenton Strange scouting report or the write-up, one paragraph, right? So that's all you get. This could very well be a long-term replacement for Evan Ingram because Strange projects far better as a receiver than he does as a run blocker. He caught 62.5% of the contested targets he saw in 2022. I'd love to know what that average is for tight ends across the board. And he had a drop rate of just 3%. So, you know, 3 drops out of every 100 targets. His 60.5 run blocking grade, however, confirms you probably don't want him taking on defensive ends as an inline blocker.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, you know, like, and I'd look at his size and I'd say the same thing. I agree with you because we've heard also there isn't anything that moves that he doesn't want to hit, right? Like he is an eager blocker. Well, you could be an eager blocker, and if you weigh 250 pounds and you're going up against a 295-pound defensive end, you know, hopefully you slow him down on his way to the quarterback.
You know, and we got the question from a caller a couple days ago asking about tells, right? And when you have certain guys on the field, how much of a tell is it when you have this package of personnel on the field? If the Jaguars were to be put in a position where they had to take Strange or Ingram, either of those guys off the field at times because they needed Luke Farrell in the game to be a run blocker, right? Like, that's why you put him in that's a tell, right, to the opposing defense.
Correct.
You need Ingram or Strange if they're going to be your top two tight ends. One of them has to be trusted to be the guy you line up on the end of the line of scrimmage to at least present the threat that you'd have to cover this guy, right? Like, you don't feel like Luke Farrell's going to threaten you at all in the pass game, but Strange or Ingram lining up on the end of the line of scrimmage, we got to have a plan for what we're going to do with that guy. The one of them needs to give you something as a blocker in the run game for you to be able to run those kind of sets effectively. I think Strange can do that. That's just my personal opinion, though, and people have obviously been writing about it. Yeah.
You know what? I don't think he's any one thing. I think that they do look at that athleticism, and they're thinking, we're going to mold him into something he was, never at Penn State. He's going to be more than he was. We're going to take this raw material.
Yeah.
And we have a vision. And again, they did trade back, so there was a risk that somebody else could be in love with him. But I feel like, listening to their comments afterwards, I think this is the pick that excited them the most. And now I'm sure they're excited about all the picks. I'm sure they're happy to be able to trade back twice and get Anton Harris in particular, right? Mm-hmm. But I just, listening to Trent Baalke talk about sometimes you just don't want to tip your hand. You just don't want to bring him in. Like, we've heard enough, we've seen enough, we know enough. Now, the draft can't get here fast enough.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm excited about it from that standpoint and hope they're right. By the way, I did not specifically solicit your Jaguar Star Wars comparisons. I think that's fair, right? We didn't make that a question of the day?
No.
I don't mind getting them. However, okay, Doom suggests that Fred Taylor is Luke Skywalker. Maybe the beating heart of Jaguar fandom, right? Mm-hmm. That's if you look at Luke that way, he's the heart of the whole Star Wars universe,
it's
right?
The Skywalker saga.
Their saga,
the first 9 movies.
Fred Taylor saga, right? So Boom, who said he's watching the show live on YouTube. What up, Boom? Is Calvin Ridley Han Solo? Need a little bit more there on that. Is he kind of like Han Solo was a gambler, right?
He was.
So there's that, right? And, just kind of, I don't know, but beyond that comparison, that may be the comparison they're leaning into. This is good enough that I think I'm going to have to tweet out a side-by-side comparison right here.
Oh.
Zay Jones is Lando, smooth guy. If you get the right picture of Zay with that little pencil-thin mustache and you put it next to the right picture of Lando Calrissian with that little thin mustache of his, I definitely can see it, right? Mm-hmm. Plus, Zay's got that hair. You're not quite sure what the hell's going on, right? I could find you pictures of Lando where it's like, my man hadn't seen a comb in a long time. Right, so that may be a pretty good one right there as well. And then Cristiano down in Brazil told us that he felt Gene Smith is Jabba the Hutt. Huh. So, and I don't think it's based on a visual comparison. Just an awful person that threw our hopes into the Sarlacc pit is kind of how that whole thing played out. So, all right. Anyway, that's wanted to get in on that with Brenton Strange. Don't know if you saw this. Jeremy Fowler over at ESPN actually tweeted this out 2 days ago about players who had their fifth-year options picked up. And obviously, only 12 of the players in the 2020 draft had their fifth-year option picked up. Mm-hmm. That seems like a staggeringly low number, right? Even though you know that there's a lot of issues with predicting the future. This is the first round. This is the best talent that you're going to be able to judge. And just over a third of you selected a guy that you deemed worthy of a second contract, right? And that's a problem, particularly if you're drafting a premium position. Mm-hmm. So Jeremy Fowler tweeted out, did you see the tweet on the hit rates? All right, don't look at it. I'd like you to guess along here. He took 10 years of first-round grades, 2009 to 2018, and which players got second contracts with their team. Not necessarily the fifth-year option, but just a second contract with their team to stick around and remain with them at least for that period of time. 3 positions are highlighted as green, okay? And by the way, the lowest one only comes in at 45% hit rate. Okay, the highest is at 88%, okay?
Okay.
There's a big middle class of 6 positions that are in the yellow. Between 32 and 39% of them got, and actually that bumps up with a guy with getting a recent deal done. And then the bottom 3 are 25, 26, and 29%. So 1 out of 4 basically is getting a second deal with their teams. You can start anywhere you like. Give me a position and where you think they fall. Yeah, there's 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom, or are they in the middle class?
Running back, I'd say, is at the bottom.
29%. Okay? 17 first-round running backs in that period of time. 5 of them got a second contract with the same team. And you could argue those teams probably wish they hadn't given some of those second contracts, right? I mean, didn't Todd Gurley got a second contract? Didn't live up to injuries, right? Now, I'm not saying Todd Gurley's a bum.
Sure.
I'm not saying Ezekiel Elliott's a bum, but you wonder, maybe Dallas would have given him the second contract anyway, knowing how it played out. But there's at least some question, even with the guys that got the second contract, whether they were worth it. So that's correct. 5 hits, 12 misses at the running back position. Where else do you want to go?
I'll say, because I think this is my safest one, too, that center was a hit.
Center is the number 1 hit.
Okay.
It is the safest one. There are only 8 of them, but 7 of them got a second contract. So if people talk about safe positions in the first round, at least based on the – and now, granted, that's a small sample. It's 8 players, right? But generally, a center doesn't get picked in the first round every year, as this tells you, right? Only 8 in 10 years' time. So typically it's a special player that the league has identified as, yeah, he's a center, but this guy's different.
I'm not sure on this one, but just given that the dominant players at the position are not first-round picks,
okay,
I'll go tight end.
And you're going where? Bottom?
Bottom.
Worst position.
Oh.
Worst position to take a tight end is to take a tight end. Again, small sample size. How many tight ends go in the first round? Not that many, right? This is the year of the tight end, Tony. What do we have, 1? It was only the 1, right? Kincaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kincaid's the only one that got in there. Only 8 tight ends were taken in the first round in that 10-year period. Again, this is 2009 to 2018. 2 of them got second deals. So 25% of the tight ends got a second deal with the same team.
And because I know there were a couple of these guys who didn't get it picked up this year, I'll guess linebacker on the bottom.
26%. And linebacker, we're not talking about edge rusher now, right?
Yeah.
There's certain linebackers going to get lumped in with edge rushers. Sorry, 2 different categories.
I'm talking like Isaiah Simmons, who everyone thought was going to be
superstar,
set the world on fire.
Superstar.
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons. All right. Tons of clamor here in Jacksonville. And look,
yeah,
that's not to fault anybody who wanted Isaiah Simmons. Nobody knows is the point, right?
Yeah.
The NFL took 23 linebackers in a 10-year period in the first round that are not designated as edge rushers, like outside guys in a 3-4. Only 6 of them got a second contract with their team, 26%.
I think quarterback's probably in the middle class.
Quarterback is in the middle class, and that it bumps up from 38 to 40 with Lamar Jackson getting so 29 quarterbacks and 12 hits, 17 misses in terms of who gets a second deal. So you're batting 2 out of 5 on quarterbacks in the first round, even getting a second contract with you.
So there's 2 more positions that are in the top.
Yeah, you got the 3 bottom positions, right? Running back, linebacker, tight end, right? And you got center at the very top. Who are the other 2 safest positions to draft?
Corner's got to be in the middle.
Corner is in the middle. 39% of corners. 36 drafted, which was the third most of any position. And 14 of those 36 got a second deal with the same team.
Wide receivers.
C.J. Henderson really broke the curve on that one, didn't he?
Didn't he? Wide receiver in the middle.
Wide receiver is at the bottom of the middle.
Oh.
38 wide receivers, second most of any position drafted in the first round in that time period. Only 12 of those 38 got a second deal, 32%.
Now just throwing darts. I'll say
You're doing great, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're throwing any kind of darts, they're hitting.
The other 2 positions in the top, I'll say one of them is offensive tackle, and the other, since it's a theme, I'd say guard.
Incorrect on the guard, okay? Offensive tackle is correct. Now, part of this is these are what we call premium positions, right?
Yeah.
Offensive tackle, left tackle, right? So when you get one that's even competent, you want to hang on to them,
sure,
right? You don't want them to go. 55% of the offensive tackles, 18 out of 33. Even that's the second highest number, and it's nearly a 50%. I don't know if you'd call it a full bust rate, but not good enough to get the second deal.
Right, yeah.
Edge rusher was the other one.
Okay.
And you wonder, too, again, how hard is it to find a guy? So if you find a guy who's even okay.
Well, and my guess is that the edge rusher has the biggest number as far as just the total selected.
58, Tone. 20 more than wide receiver.
Yeah.
No one's even close. Everyone's taking their shot on edge rusher, but they're getting paid off statistically. Not only is it an important position, it's proven to be, at least for this study, a safer position. At least, and again, there are other factors that go into it, not just did this guy turn out to be a really, really good player. It's the positional scarcity. You know, running backs get beat up. Maybe you use them up and you kick them to the curb, but that's still a lot for a first rounder to just say, hey, we're going to get 4, maybe 5 years out of him. I don't believe this includes fifth-year option. This is full second deals with their team, right? 45%. So 26 edge rushers got the second deal, 32 did not. So you're telling me, and I'm telling you, and these numbers are telling us, that of every position you can draft in the first round, center and offensive tackle are the only ones that have even a 50% hit rate on the guy earning a second deal with your team.
Drafting is hard.
It's hard, man. Drafting well is hard. Yeah. Drafting's easy. Drafting well is hard. So, got an offensive tackle this year. I look back, though, to recent years, Tone, and I see linebacker. I see running back. So Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne in the last couple of drafts play positions that are in the bottom 3 in terms of longevity with the team that drafted them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just.
Well, and Kayvon Chason's probably not getting a second deal here. I suppose he could have a good enough season in Jacksonville that they would bring him back on some kind of short-term deal, right? Like, I suppose that's not impossible.
Right. Could they get like a league minimum kind of deal with a focus on special teams?
Like that kind of thing.
Major pay cut.
That certainly seems like a first-round edge rusher that's going to go in
would think so,
the back
right?
half of that. What are they going to do with Josh Allen? Right?
No.
Like, that's with that being one of the 3 positions that hit the most, are they about to watch 2 of them walk out the door on top of the running back and all that, like everything else you just mentioned?
So QB at 40, cornerback at 39, defensive tackle was 35, guard was 33%. These are not good hit rates.
No.
Safety was 32%, wide receiver was 32%. That's the middle class. The middle class. The bottom of the middle class means 2 out of 3, see ya. Out the door. So thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
If you want to go over those numbers, at Jay Fowler, ESPN, Jeremy Fowler tweeted that out on Tuesday, as a matter of fact. All right, halfway home, you're listening to Jaguars Today, looking for your biggest question marks or concerns on the offensive side of the ball. We'll run through some of them, and we'll rank them all by the end of the program today, at least the ones you submit to us. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, ET, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Jacksonville's home for Florida Gators baseball.
The Gators take a trip to Texas, Florida, Texas A&M. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon on 1010 a.m.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including active armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has become an attractive destination for golfers all over North Florida. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that'll test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time today at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Look, warmer weather now means mosquito, flea, and tick season is here. These pests are out for blood, but you don't have to let them win. Protect your home and family with Kingfish Pest Control. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their products are safe for kids and pets. Plus, with 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can relax knowing your yard is pest-free. Call today, mention the Jags to receive 10% off your initial service. That's Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS PRP Platelet-Rich Plasma. PRP, using your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and to find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. And that's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Taylor Dahl with your 1010XL local sports update. In case you missed it yesterday on XL Primetime, Penn State tight end coach Ty Howell joined the show to chat about new tight end Brenton Strange and his versatility.
He's what we talk about at Penn State, being a three-tool player. I mean, he's really good in the run game. He'll be physical, put his face on people, and do that. He's really good in the pass game. He's got really good change of direction, get separation, really good hands, and can create mismatch problems. And then, he's also he did some really good things in pass protection, doing some play action things, and when we were trying to take deep shots and being able to handle a defensive end and protection.
Visit 1010XL.com for more. It's 75 degrees at 11:03. Time and temp are brought to you by Bueller Air Condition. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, moving into hour 2 of Jaguars Today. This morning here on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. This is a good one. Will there be as many drops by these receivers as last year? And will we have that clutch guy after Marvin Jones Jr. left? Like that guy to go to on 3rd and 4th down? I think those are fair questions,
Absolutely,
right? Who will be like that? That was, it seemed like Marvin Jones Jr. rose in prominence in terms of his impact on this offense when it was 3rd and 4th down. Right? And Trev needed to sling one, and he could rely on the hands of Marvin Jones Jr. Whoever this is on the text line from the 321 area code followed up with, will Mike D finally accept my request for dinner? I'm unaware of this request for dinner, I think. I mean, look, I do not have a perfect memory. Maybe I'm aware of it earlier, but are you buying? That's the number one thing I want to know. And where are we going? Other than that, I mean, make it time that's amenable to both of us. But appreciate the invite. Wasn't aware of your request for dinner. Now, if you're asking me, am I going to buy you dinner? Probably not, is my guess, because I'm cheap like that. Let's see. Is Tom Coughlin Obi-Wan Kenobi? I feel like Obi's too chill to be Coughlin. I don't know. Although, much like you and McGregor, they brought him back years after his initial appearance.
Sure.
So there's that aspect of it. Peterson's Yoda. Okay. I can see where you're going with that one. The wisdom. Tony Broselli is obviously Chewbacca. Enough said. Moving on. Does that make Urban Miller Darth Vader, but immediately followed by Urban Meyer was Jar Jar Binks? Yes. Nobody liked him. That is correct. Nobody likes Jar Jar to this day. Maybe one day down the line, he'll have his reclamation moment like the guy who played Jar Jar did not too long ago.
Yeah.
But other than that,
it would make me more likely to buy into the Jar Jar as a secret Sith Lord theory, right? If you're going to directly compare him to Urban.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one, though. Like if they'd leaned into that and gone with fan theories are sometimes the best theories.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is a little in depth here, but bear with me. This is on the text line. We're talking about first-round picks and the bust rate, okay? The person on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, says, okay, you're not looking at the human side of this first-round draft choice deal. They get content and happy with the money that they've made. Talent and skill are just a few factors. Second contracts are rewarded more to players that are still hungry. The crazy amount of money they make changes a lot. Respectfully, it can be said that non-millionaires shouldn't so strongly question the skills of people who've already made $5 million. Pfft, the hell out of here. So anybody who makes less money than me can't question me, right? I mean, that's what you're saying. Can't question me if you make less. That's the value of your no, that's ridiculous. You're certainly entitled to question talent and skill, but a little silly to say it's the only factor. Who said it was the only factor?
Yeah, never said that.
In fact, we brought up just with running back.
Right.
Injury risk, the value of the position. There are plenty of reasons why guys bust.
And I don't think the premise of the text is an incorrect assertion that guys get money, get fat and happy, and it doesn't matter to them as much anymore. I'm not saying that's not a factor.
Sure, but why would that be more of a factor at linebacker as opposed to guard?
Yeah. That's just a human factor.
Right. And so that should impact every position.
Yeah.
Like, do you think Josh Allen's not motivated?
No,
Jaguars
absolutely
Josh Allen?
he's motivated.
Yeah, he's motivated. I think he gives his all. What would you stake your life that he's getting a second contract from the Jags? I'm not talking about the fifth-year option here.
Sure. Well, and I think that's
would you stake your life on that? You wouldn't.
No.
Right. I just wanted to make sure because you said sure.
No.
Tony's going to stake his life on this.
No, but I do think, look, that's why you go through the whole draft process. That's why it was so disappointing when you find out how little it seems that they talked to C.J. Henderson, right? To figure out who is this guy that we're going to spend a top 10 draft pick on. It's why did you talk to enough people about what Justin Blackmon was dealing with? That's not loving or not loving football. That's loving something else that's going to affect whether or not you can play football long term enough to put it down, right? Like, that's the Justin Blackmon factor. They didn't do enough research to know the right answer to that question, and it burned them.
I would say that probably isn't as big an issue at the quarterback position, just in general.
Agreed.
Just simply because if you're getting drafted as a quarterback. Now, again, we've seen guys that don't have the emotional capacity a la Ryan Leaf to handle that position. But in terms of anybody can go down the road of substance abuse or drinking too much or partying or whatever. But the presumption to me is you can't roll out there on Saturday afternoon in college as a quarterback and perform at that super high level the way you might be able to do at some other positions, right? That are a little less, precision based.
Sure.
So I do think those guys, you got a better chance to find a guy who is serious about his craft, but that's just a tough craft to be serious about. Tough craft to master. Obviously, there are multiple factors that go into.
Some players get burnout, and the money that they get that first contract in the league, that's enough, right? You can't, if the second contract isn't going to get them inspired, right, when they're in that first contract as a rookie, then what can you do?
But, are you telling me that, tight ends are less motivated than corners?
No.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying – I'm just saying, is someone when you say, well, you got to factor in motivation, well, we're not visiting with all these players.
No.
We're looking at the end results. Here's what the numbers tell you.
Yeah.
No matter what, all the factors that go in, but I don't see why that is more of a concern with tight end, which has the lowest hit rate of getting a second contract of any position in this. Why would a tight end be more inclined to get fat and happy because he got a contract as opposed to an edge rusher?
Right.
Just don't see why that would be the case.
Right. You can explain the running backs not getting a second contract, even first-round guys, because of the value of the position, right? And maybe tight end, to some degree, it's the same kind of explanation for why they don't get the second contract as much as the other positions get the second contract. But there's some percentage of first-round draft picks that get into the league. They don't really love football. And by the time it's time to get a second contract, that's been shown. And NFL teams now have that evidence. Whatever evidence they couldn't collect while they were doing the scouting or that they ignored, saying, you know what, we can fix it, right? Like those kind of things that happen in the first round of the NFL draft, by the time you get to the end of the rookie contract, odds are whatever those flaws are have been pushed to the front for these players. Now, the list that, you could make an almost endless list of the reasons why those things might happen, and they're different for different positions. And I think, yeah, some of it is they don't care about football as much as they would need to continue doing it for 10 years as opposed to 4 or 5 and get paid, right? They got paid. I'm happy. I'm done.
Right.
I think that is some players. I think that's not the easiest thing to figure out even going through the scouting process, which is what the numbers of first-round picks that don't get the second contract tells you to some degree. It's hard to figure out the answers to those questions with the NFL draft process. You just can't know everything about any of these guys.
Correct. I just don't think that who do we have at the very top of this ranking here? I can't find my list here.
Guard. No.
It was center.
Center.
Like centers are just more motivated people. They're less likely to be content with, or you know what I mean? Like
no, yeah. It doesn't explain that.
It's a small sample.
No.
Like there are 8 centers, there are 8 tight ends.
Yeah.
7 of the centers got a second contract. 2 of the tight ends did. To me, I don't think that has anything to do with their personality or whatever. Now, as a general rule, I'm not saying there's not an individual player or two, but I don't think there's something about the position that's intrinsic to you're more likely to get fat and happy.
Yeah, when you're looking at a graphic like that, you're not seeing the individuals, right? Like you are looking at these positions as groups, so you're not seeing and saying, oh, these are the couple of centers that didn't work, right? And going into the reasons why they didn't get a second contract, or you look at the group of 7 tight ends who didn't get a second contract and delving into the details of why. You're just looking at saying 7 of them didn't. This is the number of players that are in this category. It's the most, right? Like that's essentially what you're looking at. You're not delving into all the reasons for why those things are happening.
All right, I believe I've got about a dozen now different concerns and questions about the offense from people, and some people have said things in slightly different ways, but I think those 12 generally cover most of them. So we'll run through them next, at least lay them out there so you can think about them as the listening audience, and what you prioritize. Like, what are your top 2 or 3? We'll try to come up with at least a top 5 ranked in order of how we feel about it. In terms of my dinner plans, based on the last text, I'm not sure we're going to go through with this.
Oh.
Okay, there's that. And then somebody texted in, first-time texter, on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, can I intern at 1010XL for 6 months for a swap of 2 Morgan Wallen tickets? So what are you saying? You want to intern here and have us give you the Morgan Wallen tickets? Should have thought of this 6 months ago, because how do we know you're going to follow through on your end of it?
Right.
And I'm not the guy who can barter 1010XL internships on top of that, but it's creative. At least you never know what you're going to get with the text line, right? Big old box of chocolates right there. I did put the side-by-side of Zay Jones and Lando out there. I mean, it's not a perfect match, but if you're casting the Jaguars in the Star Wars universe, that one's pretty much locked down at this point in time. All right, let's come back. At least a dozen, let me see, maybe more, that I've determined are different from each other. Offensive questions and concerns. It's your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. We'll discuss further when we return in the moment. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T. Jaguars Today rolls on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, on the go, snack time, brunch time, middle of the night. Swing into a gate station, head to the fresh case, and you know you're going to get food made with the highest quality ingredients, locally sourced as much as possible. Get great variety, great options for yourself, hot and cold dishes, and prices that put a smile on your face. That's the Dandy Company right here, folks. They treat their employees well. They treat their customers well. They're great people. The Thompson family, a Jacksonville original company for over 65 years. Support the locals that support the local sports scene, like Dandy and the Anytime Deli line of sandwiches, subs, and boy, do they have breakfast items out there. Anything you can imagine, from buttermilk biscuits to French toast to peppered fried eggs and sizzling country sausage. Dandy's got a little something for everybody. So whenever you're hungry for food on the go in Duval, Dandy's the name to know. Do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler for 46 years, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off on our entire inventory. GIA certified diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase. So get something special with a payment you can afford. Come experience your local family jeweler with a gift of fine jewelry for Mom. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
More than qualified to handle your roof. Call J&M and we'll show you the proof. Check with our customers and they all say only one way to go, the J&M way.
We take pride in doing quality work at a fair price. We use GAF Shingles, America's largest shingle manufacturer. J&M Roofing, under the umbrella. Call 904-337-0509.
License number CCC 1331951.
1010XL Draft Profiles are brought to you by Travel Camp RV Sales and Service and Perfect Rack Billiards in Murray Hill.
In round 5, Jacksonville used the 136th pick from Chicago to address the pass rush. Louisville linebacker Yasir Abdullah scored 19.5 sacks in his last 2 college seasons. He's not big at 6'1", 237, but he made a ton of tackles behind the line of scrimmage and delivered plenty of big plays, which would play really big in Duval.
He thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Of course.
Find out if he does.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
For Mother's Day, call Zero Res. Hicken here. Till Mother's Day, get $50 off your tile and ground cleaning, or $50 off cleaning and sealing your granite countertops, or get both. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball has cooler promotions, but some people call them ice chests. Either way, check out the items you can put your company logo on at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
DT here, and y'all know how much I like my brown water, but I ain't gonna lie, it gives me headaches sometimes. So my alternative is Brackish Vodka. This gluten-free alternative to Tito's is 100% local, and all monies stays right here in Duval. Not only does Brackish Vodka make you feel good, but when you support Brackish Vodka, you're also helping local charities. Try it side by side with your favorite vodka, and you will taste and smell how natural Brackish Vodka really is. And when you do, remember who sent you. Come on, somebody.
Dane Cook.
Nobody's browser history should be clear.
The Perfectly Shattered Tour.
You go on a girl browser, it should be like WebMD, Pinterest. Guy browser, clear.
Moran Theater, November 5th. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
Radio for Jacksonville by people who live and love Jacksonville.
That's right. That's exactly what it means.
1010XL. Bold City Radio.
Jaguars Today
On 1010XL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, I want to be careful not to. I'm trying to sort these right now, right, in the order that I think they are questions for me personally right now. So I'm trying not to give the farm away, but just going through some of the replies that we got today. I put 14 or 15 of these we've got. All right, and some of them will overlap. We're talking about concerns and questions on the offensive side. Your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. Chad and Sandy real estate guarantees you multiple offers on your home in 3 days, or they'll sell it for free. You can visit them online at chadandsandy.com. Tony, tell me if you whether you think they're high priority or not as I go along. Are these all legitimate ones? And feel free to add any that I may not have covered. These are all ones we've got responses to on social media or the text line so far today. A lot of them on the O-line. Health of the O-line is one of them. Who plays left guard is one of them.
Okay.
How good are the offensive tackles, right? Just Little played a brief period of time and played well at left tackle, but if he's the left and you got a rookie at right to start the season, how good is that combo? Just playing that, forget how healthy they're going to be. And on top of that, just the kind of the cohesiveness on the offensive line. Are we going to be looking at somebody starting the season at guard and then Cam gets in and one of these tackles moves to guard and maybe the other tackle flips to the other side and Cam comes in, or does Cam stay on the bench, or does Cam go in at guard? You know what I mean? So I think that's fair. That's, you know, I wouldn't put that super, super high, I think, on the list for me personally, but I think that's a good question. Red zone offense, how effective will we be in the red zone? Is Calvin Ridley still the player he used to be? I think I think we're assuming that he's going to be, but how confident are we in that assessment? I think that's a fair one as well. Slow starts on offense in general, not a specific player, everything.
Yeah.
Quit putting yourself in a hole. It's great that we got a quarterback now. We finally believe we can make fourth quarter comebacks, and we know we can. Don't put him in that position every damn week. And that goes for him too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes Trev comes out there and it's just a little off that first drive or two, so start faster. Short yardage offense. How effective will we be in that area? Brought in Snoop Connor last year. Didn't make an impact.
They did bring him in.
Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
Will Tank Bigsby make an impact there? Do we have the right mix of receivers. In other words, we don't have that big-bodied jump ball type. Even Evan Ingram is not – he's not the biggest tight end out there, right? He's big,
yeah,
but he's not –
I mean, Marvin Jones was the best on the team at that last year, and he's not here. And I don't think he's necessarily a big body.
He's not a big-bodied guy, right?
Right, but he's effective in those one-on-one situations getting to the ball.
I'll give you a little preview. Like, that to me is a question.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a concern. I don't think you have to have that guy to be effective. Travis Etienne, ball security.
For sure.
I guess this goes with red zone offense. Do we outsmart ourselves in the red zone, right? Do we get a little too cute at times? Who is the receiver? We kind of mentioned this earlier. That's the go-to on third down or fourth down to kind of replace some of those reps Marvin Jones Jr. Had. How about this one? Wide receiver drops.
Sure.
Okay. Now, I don't know if drops is really an official statistic, but if you go to Pro Football Reference, you can find them listed on the player page. There's a sortable table that will tell you that Zay Jones had the most drops of any receiver in the NFL last year with 12. That Christian Kirk's 7 was topped by only 13 other players in the entire NFL last year. So,
and I'm looking at a list on BetMGM. I don't know how reliable this list is, but the Jags are tied for the league lead with 29 drops
overall.
last year. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else. Evan Ingram status. We mentioned that earlier. You know, is he going to sign a long-term deal? But, however you think of that. I'm reorganizing these as I speak right here. I think that covers pretty much everything we got so far today. Is there something else that you're thinking? I guess you could throw sophomore slump in there for like Fortner. I don't know. Would it be a sophomore slump because Etienne's only played 1 year if he didn't do as well this season? I don't know. I mean, right. I guess it's not something that's a big concern of mine, but that could be. I mean, I'm sure we could come up with a few others. Health at any position, as we said, you never know when that's going to be an impact. But compared to other quarterbacks, as we mentioned, Trevor Lawrence has proven to be pretty pliable. He's young. He's big enough. It's not any, every time a quarterback gets hit, there's a potential for injury. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is more likely than the average guy to suffer that injury, I guess. And maybe even a little bit less likely based on some of the shots we've seen him take and get up and quickly get back in the football game. All right, let's take a quick tour around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Kansas City is signing offensive tackle Donovan Smith to a one-year deal worth up to $9 million. Smith has started at left tackle for his entire 8-year career, and Jawan Taylor, who the Chiefs signed in free agency, to a 4-year, $80 million deal with speculation that he would be playing left tackle for the Chiefs. On that deal, has only played right tackle through his first 4 seasons in the league. The expectation for now is that Smith will play the left side, Taylor the right side after this signing there in Kansas City. The Baltimore Ravens have signed cornerback Rock Ya-Sin to a 1-year deal that could be worth up to $6 million. Ya-Sin turns 27 on May 23rd. He was a second-round pick by Indianapolis in 2019 and has 2 interceptions and 27 passes defensed through his first 4 seasons. The New York Giants have re-signed linebacker O'Shane Ximines on a 1-year deal. The Cincinnati Bengals are signing quarterback Trevor Siemian to a 1-year deal. And New York Jets guard Elijah Vera Tucker, who suffered a torn triceps in Week 7 last year that caused him to miss the rest of the season, said yesterday that he should be ready for the started training camp for the Jets.
All right, somebody pointing out on the text line, this is fair. A drop should be viewed on a percentage basis compared to targets. Like if you have 7 drops and 30 targets, that's horrific, right? And you're getting 140 plus. I don't know if that saves Zay Jones in this. When you look at the overall targets, he had, what did he have last year? He had 121 targets with 12 drops, according to some of this. Now, some guys are worse. Gabe Davis had 9 in 93 for Buffalo. Debo, everybody loves Debo, 9 in 94 targets. That's, how about Romeo Doubs of the Green Bay Packers dropped 9 of 67 balls thrown his way.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those balls weren't on target. You didn't even have a chance to drop them, right? So, yeah, that's fair. Nevertheless, when you got 2 of the top 14 guys in total drops, there are a lot of guys getting a lot of targets in the National Football League. That's too many, but fair point nonetheless, and that's part of the conversation. And I think the person hit this right before it popped into my mind. It's only one football. That's the biggest problem we got, right? He said the biggest problem with the offense is obviously going to be how the touchdowns get evenly distributed. I don't think it's going to be an ego issue, and I think there are going to be plenty to go around this year, is my guess. But, that's who was the assistant coach in Tampa that referred to Devin White's request for a trade when he's due to make $11 million this year as champagne problems? Buddy, shut up. You ain't going anywhere, and you're going to make $11 million. And as they said, ain't going to be the first, ain't going to be the last that complains that they want the long-term deal now. But guess what? He's probably going to show up and collect that $11 million is my guess. All right, so let's come back. I've given you enough out there, Tone. Let's try to narrow it down to our own personal top 5 list of concerns for the Jaguars offense based on the feedback that we've gotten this morning on the Chad and Sandy Real Estate Question of the Day. Continuing along, you're listening to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and ET on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Tired of the same old places for happy hour? Downtown's best is at Bellwether. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 because why not? For all you late-nighters, Bellwether offers nightcap specials on Friday and Saturday from 9 to 11. Want a snack with your cocktail? Bellwether has a unique bar food spread. And guess what? All metered parking is free after 6 and weekends. That's Bellwether downtown.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Whether you're undertaking a major home renovation or just a simple repair request, American Electrical is your 5-star Jacksonville-based electrician to get the work done right. Experienced design building department working seamlessly with their electrical contracting department to help you create beautiful lighting spaces and electrical plans that make your house flow. And remember, with American Electrical, it's wired right at a fair price. Call American Electric at 737-7770. Look for that red, white, and blue eagle on the side of their truck, and you'll know it's American Electrical.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey folks, you ever search why Shark Coatings is the best? Well, one of the many reasons is our polyurea. We don't just buy it from anyone who has it in stock. We custom blend ours, specializing between summer and winter blend, providing you with the best products for our area. After grinding the concrete, that polyurea will form a permanent bond at the molecular level and will not pull away like epoxy. With Shark Coatings, not only will your garage look awesome, but your pool deck, patio, or driveway will too. See how Shark Coatings can make a difference for you. Call, click, or text today.
He whispers QB talk in his sleep.
Double tight, gun bunch 22Z stack.
Just ask his wife.
Okay, that's not creepy.
Quarterback whisperer Denny Thompson joins the drill Friday mornings on 1010XL. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security. Security and automation experts.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Waste Management is paying a $5,000 bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine. Apply online at WM.com/careers.
Equal opportunity employer.
Do you have a plumbing problem that's making you feel like a sitting duck? Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic. Our team of expert plumbers will have your pipes flowing smoothly in no time. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies cold case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case, plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona to the King of Beers to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Heilman from the brand new Fourscore Golf Tavern. We do elevated food, drinks, and golf simulator fun. If you're looking for a delicious meal or maybe a spot for a client, we have lunch specials every day. Need to entertain a few people from out of town? Easy. Just reserve one of our 4 simulator bays. Lunch service starts at 11 a.m. daily. Located in San Marcos Square, we'll see you at lunch at Fourscore Golf Tavern.
Now you can watch 1010XL.
Oh, you've worked in television?
No, but I watch a lot of it.
Search 1010XL Video, all one word, on YouTube to watch shows, podcasts, and more. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
All right, final few minutes here this morning on Jaguars Today. Tom McManus will join us to get his perspective or give his perspective on the draft tomorrow, among other things. Mentioned Trevor Lawrence quote tweeted the Kyle Brandt nonsense from Good Morning Football. Somebody on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure said that Christian Kirk, Jamal Agnew, and Calvin Ridley all also responded to the tweet. I'm sure not agreeing with it. Right? But I like to see it. You know, I mean, it's not a big thing, but get out there and protect your guy, right? And let him know what nonsense we thought that set of rankings was. Cristiano sent me little screenshot from Pro Football Focus. I don't know if you saw this, predicting the landing spots of the top remaining free agents. Have you seen this?
No.
Jadeveon Clowney to the Panthers. Rock Yassin, the corner. He's a corner, right? Rock Yassin?
Yeah.
I think he is.
And he's going to Baltimore.
He is going. Well, that was their prediction. Dalton Reisner, the offensive lineman, going to the Raiders. Marcus Peters going to the Falcons. Isaiah Wynn going to San Francisco. Yannick Ngakoue, the Bears. Justin Houston, the Giants.
Oh.
Kyle Van Noy, another guy who could give you a little edge, right? A little edge help. A versatile player. Steelers, Adrian Amos going to Green Bay. I skipped number 7. Melvin Ingram.
Hey.
Come on down and don the teal. Melvin, as he's got you. They've got you locked in coming to the Jags. So.
I think he makes a ton of sense.
Sure, absolutely. I think all the guys we discussed yesterday, add Ingram. I think Van Noy would be a very solid fit.
Yeah.
Right? Van Noy's a guy that he's like a ball of clay. Like, hey, man, we need you to go out there and be a defensive end. Hey, man, we need you to maybe be a big safety and drop back in coverage. I feel like he can do a little bit of everything. He may not be great at any one thing, but he's competent at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that guy. So we've got a lot of submissions today. And you can feel free to add anything that wasn't on there, but I'm going to stick with the list that we got in today. So E.T.'s going to join us here as we count them down 5-1. Based on your submissions, what we think are the most legitimate questions or concerns about the Jaguars offense. Let's hit them with the 10-10 take.
10-10 Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take, brought to you by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
I'm going to assume for you guys, like a major sliding scale. Like the couple at the very top, I'm like, that's serious. Like that is a concern. I start to get down to like 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm like, all right, that's a question, but I'm not freaking out about it. You know what I mean? I see you nodding your head in there. So it feels like, again, feel very good about this side of the football.
Mm-hmm.
How many years, Tony, when the Jags sucked, did people say, if you're going to lose 35-34, at least entertain us. They're going to be damn entertaining this year. Now,
certainly appear to be.
Let's hope that they at least add somewhat to their win total from last year. But, E.T., you've been busy in there today, so we're going to lead off with you. What is your number 5 question or concern about the Jags offense based on the feedback we got?
Ingram, Evan Ingram, like re-signing him.
What's his status? The status of Evan Ingram?
Yeah.
Will that get done, and will it get done in a timely fashion? Now, is it a concern? Like, are you – because this is only for 2020. If he signs the franchise tag, does that completely takes that concern away, right?
Yeah. Cause if it's only for this season, that concern
right.
is
If
gone.
we're just focused – but until and unless that happens –
it's a concern.
Okay, Evan Ingram and his status. What do you got at number 5?
I have red zone efficiency improving. They were 17th in the league last year, looking up the number at 55.38% of their red zone trips they turned into touchdowns. And look, that's not bad. Or right, they weren't bad in the red zone last year, but I do think for a team that we're all looking at and still have the questions we do on defense, they need to probably be more efficient if they're going to be a team that's going to win more than 9. Right, in 2023. If the goal is to get to that 11 or 12, I think they're going to have to be above that 60% mark in the red zone.
That's where I put them, too. Red zone offense as my number 5. Just in general, touchdowns, not field goals, right?
Yep.
Converting, smart plays, not turning the ball over, just the overall effectiveness. Now, look, this is more a question to me. I firmly believe that Calvin Ridley's better than Marvin Jones Jr. At this point, that Brenton Strange will provide more as a receiver at the tight end position than anyone not named Evan Ingram did last year. That Tank Bigsby can help this team.
Yeah.
Will he be the answer to all their short yardage problems? Probably not. That Trevor Lawrence is going to be better. But it's still a question. Got to see it come into play. All right, E.T., what you got at number 4?
That is actually my number 4 is the growth of Trevor. Like, is he going to step it up to take it to the next level? He had his first season. All right, cool. Last season, he stepped it up. Now is he going to take it to the next level?
Can he become a Tier 5 quarterback in Kyle Brandt's rankings? Right. Can he at least get on Garoppolo's level this year? But look, that to me, I think is a question and not a big concern for me, though. You know what I mean? Like, I believe it's going to happen. But until it has to happen.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we've all assumed that's going to happen. I'm kind of assuming that's going to happen, right? And it's still got to happen, but it doesn't, like, I'm pretty confident in what the outcome will be. What's your number 4?
4 and 5 are pretty closely related for me. I put short yardage and goal line running game at number 4 for me. They weren't effective enough at either last year, and hopefully, you bring in a guy like Tank Bigsby, he helps. Right, as opposed to ETN being the guy that you're turning and handing the ball to in those situations. But until you see how much better they are in those situations, I think it is at least a question going into the year.
I went with cohesiveness on the offensive line. Like, you potentially have a lot of moving parts here, right? We still don't know who's going to be the left guard. When is Ben Bartch going to be available to play? Are you starting with Shatley, hoping that Bartch gets healthy? Are you planning on one of these 3 tackles, trying to get your best 5 on the field, being a guard once Cam Robinson is eligible to play? Anton Harrison and Walker Little, left side versus right side, all these, so how the pieces fit together more so than the health of the group, I put it number 4 for me. What you got at 3, E?
The big play abilities, like, we haven't really seen much of that. We got Travis Etienne, now we got Calvin Ridley, but,
a quick strike.
Some big plays, like the big chunks. I want to see more of that. Throw the ball downfield, Trevor. Let's get those 50, 60-yard runs like back when Fred was doing it, like when Jimmy. I want to see some big plays.
Okay, that's fair. That's one that really didn't come up. But I think, will we have a more down and down out potential for an explosive offense, right? Just and make things easier. You don't have to have a 12-play drive to score.
Right.
Right? Let's go have a 2-play drive to score. Stuffed for a loss of 81 yards on the next play. Boom. What you got, Tone?
Who starts and how effective will the player be who does at left guard? Is at number 3 for me.
Okay, so that's specifically guard. I feel like that's kind of covered in the cohesiveness of the offensive line, but that's okay. Left guard, period. I put receiver drops in there as well.
Okay.
That's drive killers, man. And, those numbers, the raw numbers are high for the top 2 returning receivers this year. And you got a guy in Calvin Ridley who, quite frankly, basically hasn't played in 2 years, right? Is he going to have to knock off any rust? He did not make my top 5 list of concerns, but I do think it's an assumption we make that Calvin Ridley is going to step in and be that 1,300 to 1,400 yard receiver talent-wise that he was 2 years ago. I hope that's the case. E.T., what you got? We're on number 2.
The O-line, it's looking a little different. I won't say it's looking a little suspect, but it's questionable. Like you said earlier, like the cohesiveness, how they're going to work together, and because Trev helps the O-line a lot as well.
He does.
So I'm just curious about this O-line.
Okay. O-line in general, like how good it can be.
How good can they be?
Okay.
Number 2 for me, I have the slow starts, and I think it feeds into my opinion at this point about the defense. They're banking so much on guys just growing from year 1 to year 2. They had high pressure rates last year. Those didn't turn into sacks. They played with no leads basically for the entire season, so maybe that would help the effectiveness of a defense where the big improvement they're expecting is year 1 to year 2 guys. I think it would help those year 1 to year 2 guys to play with the lead early in some of these football games, so I had slow starts at number 2.
So did I, Tone, and you could not be more right, in my opinion, that what's going to help this defense tremendously is Jags up 14-3 in the middle of the second quarter.
Yeah.
Right? Give us some of that, some more of that you can actually, really the deeper you get into the game in that circumstance, the more it's going to come into play. When you get obvious pass rush situations, you don't have to worry about playing the run as much, and that should help hopefully jumpstart the pass rush. But I'm with you there. Don't you put pressure on yourself when you start slow. You put pressure on your defense when you start slow. So, yes, I had that in my top 2 as well. E.T., the number 1 question or concern for Emmanuel Valorand.
What does Calvin Ridley's touchdown dance look like?
Oh, boy, here we go.
No, but really, can Calvin Ridley return to that Atlanta form? He penned a nice letter. He got us going. Yeah, we know that you have that ability. You've done that before in Atlanta, but can you produce like that for us Jacksonville Jaguars? Because we need you, big fella.
I think that's a legitimate question. I guess my confidence level for that he will be able to do that compared to some of these other things, like I just can't know about guard. When's Bart's going to be healthy? Probably not for the start of training camp. What does that mean? Are we going Shatley again? Are we doing another combination? So I think it's a legitimate question, but it's just probably not one that I'm as concerned about. I think I had that at 6 or 7 for me. What do you got number 1?
How good will the offensive tackles be? And who's playing where? At tackle to start the season.
That's more the cohesiveness.
And what does that look like in week 8? Right? It's because there could be a lot of moving pieces at the tackle position for this team early in the year.
Like earlier, I said cohesiveness of the offensive line, right? And some of that is like how are they going to play, finding the right chemistry, finding the right combination. Number 1 for me is the health of the offensive line. Brenton Sheriff played injured a lot last year.
He did.
Right? And he was laboring. He's a tough guy. What are you going to do if you lose Brandon Sheriff for a couple months, right? Obviously, they've got plans. They've got a depth chart. They've got all that. What if somebody gets hurt at tackle early in the season if Cam Robinson's unavailable and you got to run out Josh Wells out there? Now, like E.T. made the point, Trevor Lawrence does a great job contributing to his own protection. But to me, health of the offensive line, most paramount thing that we got. And again, go-to third down receiver, outsmarting ourselves in the red zone. ETN's fumbling, big-bodied possession guy in the red zone, short yardage offense. Tony mentioned how good are the offensive tackles, who plays left guard, Evan Ingram's status, all these among that didn't make my top 5, but they're all out there. So appreciate everybody sending in your various submissions. Now, again, I mentioned that I am not a Star Wars, dyed-in-the-wool aficionado, right? I've more gone along with it because my son is so into it, right? Like, he fell in love with it, and it was a great activity for us as a family, watch these different shows and what have you. So I asked him if he would be so kind, and he did text me his current top 5. I asked for Star Wars books, movies, TV, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever Star Wars properties.
Yeah.
All right. Number 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
A lot of people have that as their number 1 thing in Star Wars canon. Number 4 is Rogue One. For me, it's the best movie in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just a beautiful standalone movie.
I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me.
Bro, it is so good.
Yeah.
Number 3, the High Republic book series. Okay.
All right.
I mean, my man has got a library. I pick him up yesterday. We go to Lakeland to pick him up. Can we stop at the bookstore before we leave Lakeland? We got bookstores in St. Augustine, right? No, we stopped at the bookstore. The High Republic book series. Number 2 is the TV series Andor, which is unbelievably good. Just unbelievably good. And then he went with the Clone Wars animated series as his number 1 thing. Probably Ahsoka is probably his favorite character in the whole thing. So he's happy with the live action opportunity that is coming to a screen near you.
Yeah.
So there you have it. From a much more Star Wars steeped in lore individual. Those were his top 5.
Obviously, with that list. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw somebody send in, they said, like, Empire, Andor, Rogue One. I'm like, bro, that's pretty much nails right there as far as I'm concerned. I got a special place in my heart for Star Wars because I remember watching it in the movies and walking out as a little kid. I was like 9, mind blown. Right? I mean, totally. I mean, you think about the young kids nowadays, and they've got all these streaming services, and they can watch it all like that. It was an event. You went and you saw something that you'd never seen before. So pretty damn cool. All right, that'll do it for us today. Thanks for playing along with Jaguars Today. Let's welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping the rubber on the road with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, Matt Hayes is here. Hello, Matt Hayes. How are you?
What's up, fellas?
Well, today we looked at the offense and the issues with the Jaguars offense because most people look at the offense and go, damn, we're pretty good, right? And I think we are. But we asked people, we came up with about 15 legitimate questions that people have about the offensive side. Some of them are minor, but some of them are like, it can't be answered until you see it play out, like the health of the offensive line, for instance, right? So if there's one concern that pops to mind for you on the offensive side for the Jags, what would that be?
Anton Harrison. How could it not? I mean, depending on how long he's got to play, what if he has to play for 6 games? I mean, is he going to be ready?
I assume he's going to have to play for 6 games.
Yeah, so is he going to be ready? That to me, that's a big deal. Ben Barch, is he going to be healthy?
Sure.
Is he going to be ready to go?
Is Sheriff going to stay healthy?
Yeah.
He didn't last year, Is Calvin Ridley?
Yeah,
we assume he is.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? But until proven, I think it's a fair question. It's not a major concern. I think Calvin Ridley, based on the videos of him working out, and the mental attitude, I think he has a point to prove to the National Football League at large. So I'm thrilled at the prospect of Calvin Ridley getting on the football field. But it's still, till it happens, can't 100% know that he's going to be the same exact guy that he was.
I mean,
that's 2 years without football, basically.
I mean, frankly, if you really go to that point, what about Evan Ingram and Zay Jones? Are they continuing to progress, or was that a one-time thing for them?
Sure.
I don't know how you can't look at it that way, right?
Drops, by the way, we just mentioned. Zay had 12. Christian Kirk had 7 unofficially, I think. And again, somebody made a good point. You got to compare that to how many targets are they getting and things like that. I mean, there's some guys like we looked at Romeo Doubs of the Packers had like 9 drops on 67 targets.
Wow.
Buddy. That's a quick path out of the league right there is what that is. So what does XL Primetime serve up today?
Y'all had Tyler Lacey on about a week and a half
we
ago,
did.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Mike Gundy on right out of the gate on Primetime, and the Oklahoma State coach is going to talk about Tyler Lacey. We'll also talk about the new playoff with Mike Gundy and, all the stuff that's basically bearing down on college football these days, NIL, transfer portal. Fun. Have a little fun. And we'll also, of course, talk Jaguars.
I'm showing great restraint here to not do the Mike Gundy quote. I think I showed great restraint. So it may come up on XL Primetime. That'll be up to you guys.
I think he's like 56
I
now?
know. It's a different age, but it's still the famous quote from him. All right, Matt, have a great show.
Okay, guys.
Appreciate you stopping by. XL Primetime coming your way. Big Sirs, me, O'Brien, Joe C., along with Matt Hayes. Any final thoughts for the day?
I was just, and the editor who printed this is garbage. Like, that's where I went to in my head, because that's part of the Mike Gundy quote, too. It's him.
Oh, is it? I just thought, like, I'm like the headline part of the quote.
This is garbage. And the editor who printed it is garbage. Come at me. Not some kid.
Kid. Yeah, well, I wonder how he feels now that NIL is a prevalent thing. Are they still kids?
Yeah.
When they're making six figures or
They're
seven
making bank,
figures? And good for them, man. I don't have any
I don't either.
knock on any of them. You know what? Plenty of guys get overpaid. Guys make it to the NFL that have never played it down in the NFL end up getting overpaid. We just looked at all that list of how ridiculous, how few guys in a 10-year period got second contracts with their team. But they're getting their bodies beat to hell. And so if you can earn it, go get it. Somebody's willing to pay it to you, go get it. All right, that'll do it for us today. For Tony Smith, E.T., and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today, and stick around for XL Primetime coming up next on 1010XL 92.5 FM.